recording. Okay, now we're recording. I meant to be recording. Okay, so just, okay, so go ahead and just write those down, guys. Benefits. That's absolutely correct for the first one. So, and this is the ending is just you want not to answer. Um, what are key elements that you provide in your sponsorship letter? Customization, sure. Keep it short, absolutely. How can we calculate sponsorship? Impression yields. Do it like, site visits, number of times names appears on a brochure. This one you might not, I don't think I've covered this. The biggest challenge for DMOs, uh, what it is, guys, it's really the changing landscape. It's adapting to the digital landscape, the digital world. That's been and will continue to be the biggest challenge for DMOs when it deals with sponsorships. Keep it short, focus on exposure, customize. Okay, all good. Thank you, everyone. All right, so now, guys, you're going to help me with something. And I said, let's have a little fun. You're going to help me help me find sponsors for event. Turn on my camera here so I can be more convincing if I share my video with you. Share video. Here I am again. All right, so are you ready for this? Help me find a sponsor for this event. Now, guys, this is a real event that's coming up. I have actually volunteered myself to be part of this. I've said that I will. Now, this is assuming we're out of the coronavirus situation and that conferences and people are still coming together in October, or will start coming together for conferences come fall 2020. It's planned for Washington, D.C., and guess what it is? Ha, bet you've never heard of this, the American Association of Antique Purse Collectors annual conference. We've gone to Amsterdam. We were in Las Vegas. We've been to Denver, and a host of other cities. So this year it's in DC. Now, you're saying, are you kidding? People actually come together for this? Yes, they do. There are a few thousand members to this organization. So, to show you quickly what is collected. And so here, guys, I thought I would share my collection. I'd wow you with my collection, if you will, because a lot of you probably think, oh, this is a dumb thing to collect. But here, I'm just going to show my collection and maybe, tweak some interest in them. And so here it goes. These are all scenic purses. They were done. They were done back in the 19th century. I am somebody who actually does the repair. These little beads that make up these purses are like grains of sand, and repairing them is a work of art. This one was done with steel beads. They are not done anymore. I'm supposed to. Come on, okay? And a lot of them are the most collectible ones are the scenic ones and the figural ones, like the ones I'm showing you here. And again, these are all ones in my collection. And we covet them. And on these, and most all of them, the fringe have been gone. This is called the lattice weave. That was really hard for me to figure out how to do. I take them all apart. I give them new linings. And this is an association, and we take great pride in what we do. And these are in these are showcased in many museums. These purses, by the way, these are this particular one that I've just stopped on here for a second is part of what they call the Vienna Workshop, Vienna Werkstatter period, the Vienna Successionist moment, and they are upwards of $2,000 a piece in value, believe it or not. This one right here that I'm pointing to, one in my collection, that's all 14 karat gold. That one sells for upwards of $5,000. This one actually has a real working clock. Again, we're talking about pretty expensive purses when we get into some of these mesh ones. Here are the Wiener Werkstatts. And these are, again, upwards of $2,000 each. I have a few. Oh, and just to show you beyond beaded purses, here's a few other fun examples of customized purses in some collections. These are ones that were made by, oh my gosh, I just forgot the I'll think of it in a second. The artist Isabella. These are Timmy Woods. And again, those are all very expensive, sometimes $500 or more. And I just thought I would show you these because here are the most expensive ones. Look, here's a beaded purse fiber worth 92,000. These two are in my collection. They're not worth 92,000, but probably worth a couple thousand each. Anyway, so they can get very expensive, and it's fun. Here's the world's tallest purse, and again, here's my little museum that I have. In fact, I've even published a book on antique purses. So that is a little bit about purses. So now, how do we begin thinking about sponsors? All right, and so and you're going to help me here. And I've gotten you started with this. I'll turn off my video camera now so I can concentrate on my major screen here. So we put on filters, guys, and we first look, when we're looking at filters, we look at this. Let me circle it. We look at the attendees. We put filters on the attendees, and then like with Maya did with with Haymarket, you look at businesses that are nearby or businesses that might be a good match. So here, when I put on the filters, I said, okay, what do we know about people who will come? Well, first of all, we're all going to be tourists. They're going to be staying in Georgetown. We know they're mainly women. By the way, you know, they're collecting pretty expensive stuff. We know they're affluent. We know probably they have an interest in history. We know they like to shop. We know there's probably an interest in fashion. We know they're probably older, like moi, baby boomers. And then now can we find business matches? So here, affluent. So who would want to come in front of these groups? A wealth group? And I gave you an example here, like Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, insurance companies. I don't have any list there. Antique market, like Sotheby's, high-end restaurants. I don't have anything up there. Museum, fine arts for in DC area, high-end shopping areas, city center DC, high-end fashion stores, wealth groups. So here, I want you just now to spend a second and see if you can just think of other sponsors. I've given you some filters here with business organizations and attendee filters. See if you can help me flesh out some results. Use your text tool here and just give me some ideas. Think of some ideas here. Museums, maybe you can think of other museums you can write in. Makeup brand. All right, just write them in with the text tool here and these on the whiteboard. And this is how we go about the process, everyone, of finding sponsors. I've just taken you through, like Chanel or Mac, write that Eamon on there in the square using that text tool. That's a good example. Absolutely, Chanel is a really good example. I would go there and say, do you want to be part, do you want to sponsor an event? Do you want to sponsor a lunch, a dinner session, a tour? Or can I include your name in a conference program or conference communication? Are we all a little shy? Can somebody use the text tool and see, get some other ideas up there for me? Eamon, can you do that? I thought your example of Chanel was really a good one. Other ideas? Let me just see if you've texted me them. Let me go. Chanel or Mac, yeah, absolutely. All right, so you all kind of get it? Raise your hands, please, if you kind of get this idea of putting filters on, okay, to create, okay, Partnership City, Pentagon City Mall. Okay, good. Now we're getting some ideas of antique shops. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is all connected to your assignment this week. That's why I wanted to go through this with you quite as well as I wanted to, but hopefully you get the idea. Put the filters on. Think of your attendees, and then think of what businesses, particularly geographic ones in the area, and then find a match for your sponsors. All right, we have grants and earned media to look at. We can go to one thing that's really important for me to point out here with grants, and I see I only have 7 minutes to go here, because I said I'd let you out at early because I asked you all to do 15 minutes of reviewing on your cases. So one thing for grants is to always go to your state DMO. So for Haymarket, Virginia, you would want to go to VTC. Here's VTC's marketing program. If we look a little bit closer at it, so VTC has a program. They give grants. They have 2 different levels. And basically what they say is you can fill out a grant. If you spend $5,000, you can get another $5,000 from us. And all you have to do is put our Virginia is for Lovers logo on your advertising material. Okay, pretty good deal. And they have it at level 2. So this is one big thing to remember, guys. For all of your destinations, go to the state, see if they have state marketing leveraging programs, marketing grants. Almost all of them do. You can also go to some really very common ones. Just type in a Google search for grants, and you'll get organizations like Walmart's. Go to Walmart's grant giving guidelines. You'll find out who is eligible. So take some of the standard ones like the Walmarts, like the Cokes of the world. Maybe you will be a good fit with them. And then grants, what to know. Here are things applying for you, what you have to do. I say you have to know the difference between capital and non-capital grants. So a non-capital grant would be like, I want money to do a programming, something for programming, or I want something for capital to actually make to build the infrastructure for a particular organization. Now I'm going to show you examples right here of some ones that I have recently done. All right, so this was a capital improvement. So this was actually improving the structure. We needed to actually turn the garage into a visitor center. So this was both capital, okay, improving the structure, and also programming, because it was doing programming, putting themes, displaying signs up, interpretive points within the visitor center. What other ones have I worked on? Okay, this is one for a kitchen in the House Museum. This was both capital and non-capital. The capital was, here was before what it looked like, and we needed what it looked like afterwards. So we needed a capital improvement grant. We needed to improve the walls. We needed to lay tile on the floors, but we also needed to do programming. And here I explain what we did. We had programming of kitchen tools used in the 18th century and also in the last private occupant in the 20th century. Here's an example of just a non-capital grant that I did, that I had funded, that I got from the Southern Maryland Heritage Area. And this was just for a grant to program a summer-long culinary event for the museum with 6 food events featuring local chefs. And finally, one that I'm working on right now, which is, I just submitted this. Oh, actually, this one's funded. I actually got the Southern Maryland Heritage Consortium again to provide keys to history, which involves interpretive signage around the museum, okay, telling the broader story of Mount Aventine. Here I have what the broader story is, and also creating a brochure. And then also, now I have just done another grant that I just submitted this week to Charles County Tourism Office to create a video that is connected to this same programming, to the brochure and placards, a video that would run in looping fashion within the museum itself, that would highlight or tell the story, the broader story of Mount Aventine, and tell this story about the evolving landscape, the family cemetery, the importance of enslaved labor to Mount Aventine, a story that's often not told, the story about after the Civil War, and the story about the tobacco economy and how we preserve Mount Aventine for perpetuity. All right, so guys, that is Now, finally, earned media. We've got three different types of earned media: earned, paid, and owned earned media. What is free? And we can do that through um, through stories, through placements, through getting the news media to talk about us. Viral, what goes viral is also considered earned media, and we can also put an AVE, an advertising value equivalent, on it. So again, you can use this also as part of your leveraging strategy, earned media. So you had one final video that I had you look at that showed exactly how this works, how we can use earned media to help tell a brand story and how it works. So introduced in that video were the story, which is called the story platform, the brand narrative, what's built, and then publishing it and how it's shared is, and through the use of earned media, is how we can really get our story told, louder, while driving what we spend lower. All right, so with that, we just have now just 1 minute to look at what your assignment is, your last written assignment for this course. And here it is. You are to select an event associated with a destination that your team is building a marketing campaign. And it can be an existing event, repeated event, or restage event, or a completely new event. Describe how you build an effective sponsorship program for this event. So a sponsorship program for this event. What filters, and you know about filters now, will you use to identify potential sponsors? To describe a creative benefit plan that will attract sponsors and one they cannot say no to. Like, will it have a name like mine did? Keys to History, the broader story of Mount Aventine. What are the polls? How will you determine success? Will it be the number of inquiries? Will be the number of times the sponsor is mentioned in a brochure and so forth. Limit the page and the usuals that we have with the introduction, body, and conclusion. Now, know when it's due, everyone. It's due Sunday, March 29th. And then also, I just want you to remember that next Tuesday, we do not meet, as we meet only within our teams in a scheduled session. Yes, we do click on online. We meet in an on session, but we're just going to meet with our teams, and I will pop. So the session will have your team name on it, and I will pop into those teams just as I do when we're meeting as a class. So now I think I finished at 1:46, so I think I've done pretty good. So I will take now any questions you have on that we covered today on partnerships and leverage. I hope it's now all very clear to you, and you will write me some great written assignments that will that you'll be able then to use and select for your presentation, your last presentation on next Thursday, a week from today. So, any questions? If not, that's it, everyone. That's all I've got for you. It's a wrap from me. And thank you for all being participatory members in this session. And I look forward to seeing all of you again next Tuesday. Okay, Tina, go ahead.
Oh yeah, Professor. Blackboard shows that the assignment is due on Monday. So.
Oh, okay. Yes, I will change that. It can be Monday. I will send out an announcement on that. It can be Monday midnight. You are absolutely right. Thank you for bringing my presentation. I was thinking of another class. Yes, it is. It can be Monday midnight. I will let everyone know. Thank you. Okay, thanks everyone. I will stick around for any other questions.